Hey, Tears, thanks for stopping by. Um, First of all, I apologize that you can't actually see my face in this video. Excuse me, the reason being that I'm not looking too great at the moment. I haven't been very well over the past couple of days, and yeah, I look like a hot mess. So that's why you won't be seeing my face in this video, so you'll just be hearing my voice. So this video is going to be a little bit of a rant. Um, So it's never a good thing when you find out that you've been deceived by someone you trusted. And for those of us who were Jehovah's Witnesses, we fully trusted the organization. And one of the areas that I personally trusted the organization in was anything to do with figures, whether it was figures of the organization's growth or figures to do with money. Anything to do with figures, I completely trusted the organization, and I was of the opinion that they were 100% transparent in all of their financial dealings. Anything to do with, reporting, I thought the organization's transparent. Even when I started waking up, figures and money was something that I never ever thought badly of the organization when it came to those things. I started realizing that a lot of the doctrines were false, but I never ever felt that the organization lied about its financial dealings or about its growth. Now, I remember years ago, I can't remember who told me, but whether it was an elder or something that I heard from a platform, but this is something that had stuck in my mind for years, that worldwide 10 new congregations are formed in the organization every single day. Not literally every day there are 10 new congregations formed, but the growth that the organization experiences is the equivalent of 10 new congregations every single day. That's one thing that I really, really stuck in my mind. It's embedded in my mind. And I was never told anything different from that. Never heard anything to the contrary. So all up until, when I started waking up, that is what I thought. The organization is expanding. But that's obviously not the case. So the most recent convention, the Always Rejoice 2020 convention, it was reported that 300,000 people had been baptized in the previous year. Now, I'm not saying that figure is untrue, but the way the organization uses these statistics and presents them, it's intentionally to present a very, very misleading figure or a very misleading picture of what is actually going on. Look at it like this. If I said to you that I'm rich because I earned $1 million or £1 million in the last financial year, on the surface that sounds really, really impressive. I earned £1 million. But what were my expenses? If my expenses were £1.1 million, am I rich? If that were the case, I would in actual fact be more broke than the average person who earns a lot less than me, but whose expenses are lower than their income. Now that's just common sense. That's just simple mathematics. It's not about how many people come into the organization, how many people are baptized, how many people are leaving. They didn't mention that figure. They just mentioned this huge 300,000 figure, out of context. It's completely meaningless, the way that they've presented it, but it's done to sound impressive, to make you think, wow, the organization's really doing well, really expanding. 300,000 baptized, the highest it's been in 20 years. Firstly, they haven't told you who are these 300,000 people. Now, I'm not saying that they should list all of their names. I don't mean it like that. But are these 300,000 people, are they Bible studies? Are they people who have been converted from the ministry? Or are they children that have been born into the organization and have come to an age where they're expected to be baptized and then get baptized? What is that figure primarily comprised of? Because if those 300,000 people are mostly Jehovah's Witness children, then is the organization really growing? I recently found out that Jehovah's Witnesses have the lowest retention rate of any other Christian religion. Only 1 out of every 3 born in Jehovah's Witness remains in the religion for, like the rest of their life. But you will never ever hear that. You will never hear that from the platform or from the screen at an assembly or a convention. Those things are hidden. So you think that the organization is growing and expanding, but it really, really isn't. In fact, Lloyd Evans brings this out in one of his videos, which I've linked below, that in a lot of countries, the growth of Jehovah's Witness numbers is round about the same as the worldwide average for population growth, which is about 1.3%. So in most countries where Jehovah's Witnesses are experiencing growth, it's obviously just due to having children. That's nothing to be shouting about. That's nothing to be, blowing your trumpet about, because it basically means that when you go out and do all these hours of preaching work, no one's listening to you. Nobody's listening to you. How many people are actually coming into the religion from the outside? That would be the real tell. But this information is either obscured or outright hidden. Now, I'm put in the description a couple of links to some videos that break down these figures in a much more comprehensive way than I ever could. And I wouldn't attempt to do a better job than them. But what I really want to focus on is the intentional deception behind these figures. There's no doubt in my mind that this is done on purpose to make you think that the organization is growing when it clearly isn't. Please watch those videos that I've linked down below, and you'll see that in most countries, growth has stagnated, and in other countries is actually in decline. Something that I never ever thought would happen when I was a witness. Because as far as I believed, Jehovah God is blessing the organization, and that's why it's growing, and it will always grow because it has God's backing. But if it isn't growing, does it really? Another thing as well, I've been out of the organization for 1.5 years now. But from what I've heard, there's a really, really big push to get children baptized. After understanding all of this, I can really, really see why. If that's the only way that they can, increase their numbers, why wouldn't they, encourage young ones to get baptized more strongly? That's the only place where they're getting their growth from. So this is really bad. This is really bad and extremely misleading. And I'm really, really disappointed. I don't know why. I'm not surprised. After everything else that I found out, I'm not surprised, but I am very, very disappointed, because this was the one last thing. This was the one last thing where I could say, yeah, the organization is truthful and honest and transparent on this thing, but they're clearly not. So yeah, I just wanted to have a little rant about that and get it off my chest. I mean, the purpose of my channel um, isn't to tear down the organization, not to tear down their practices, not to tear down their beliefs, or to, you know, undermine anyone's faith, or to draw others after me, as they like to say that we so-called apostates do. That's not what I'm here for. My channel is primarily to help people who are either leaving or have left the organization, right, to overcome a lot of the obstacles they're going to have in their pursuit of a happy life. And those obstacles are there specifically because they used to be a witness. That's the primary aim of my channel. Now, in the course of trying to do that, trying to help such people, it may be necessary to contradict certain Jehovah's Witness teachings, or certain things that they practice. That's going to be unavoidable, but that's not what I want my channel to be about. There are other channels that do that in a much better way than I do. But every now and again, you know, taking into consideration that I'm still on this same journey myself, I'm still going through all of this. Every now and again, I just need to get things like this off my chest. You know, I do find it somewhat therapeutic and cathartic and all of that. So every now and again, I will need to do this. But I want my channel to be positive. I want it to be about helping people to overcome their indoctrination and the things that are still mentally and emotionally with them, that are preventing them from having a happy life outside of the organization. Okay, but yeah, as I said, every now and again I'll need to have a rant, but I hope that doesn't detract from the main focus of my channel. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks very much for watching and listening, and I'll see you in the next one.